Hello children, welcome back to our English class. As we have already started our English class in two sessions, we have completed the poem. Firstly, we have studied about the poet's intro. Who is the poet here? Alfred Tennyson. Okay, you have come to know who is Alfred Tennyson. Now, after that we have studied three stanzas. And in today's session, that is the third session, we will learn or we will continue the poem explanation and discussion. That is the Brook poem from your English course book section 3, the Brook. Okay children. So let's begin our poem children. The Brook with the fourth stanza. So let me read the stanza first. I chatter o'er the stony way in little sharp and trebles. I bubble into eddying bays. I babble on the pebbles. So what did you understand from this stanza children? Let me explain you. As the brook flows over the stony path, it makes a chattering sound. This sound is in high pitched, hence the phrase sharps and trebles. Both are high pitched notes in the music. And as water flows part on the obstacle, a reserve motion is created that lead to swingling. These are known as eddies. A lot of bubbles are also formed as the brook flows. Brook means the stream which flows over pebbles. Okay. So as if these pebbles are talking continuously while they are moving. Okay. As in it is in a musical form. Got it children? The phrase pebble, babble, pebbles. These are being used in musical tone. So let's move toward the next stanzas. With many a curves, my banks I freed by many a fields and fallow, and many a fairy foreland set with willow weed and mallow. I chatter, chatter as I flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. So see children, what did you understand from these two stanzas? The stream, the brook that does not flow in a straight line, it makes lot of turns. It takes a curve turn, okay, in its path. Freet means here first or worry. The brook forms so many curves. What it does, it forms curves that it seems as if it is constantly troubling its banks to change the shape. The brook continues beside many fields as well as fallow. Means here the brook is next to the fields also. Okay children. It continues beside many fields as well as fallow lands. The fairy forelands refer to here promontories. What it refers to? Promontories. These are the mass of land that overlook the brook. These promontories are a home to plants such as willow weeds and mallow. The brook passes them on its journey. Okay children, where it passes? It passes on its journey. As the brook flows on its way to the overflowing river, it makes a continuous sound. What it makes? It makes continuous sound. This sound is like people are talking or chattering. Okay, hence the line I chatter, catter as flow. The brook repeats that although man dies, but it goes on forever. Means what does it mean here? The brook is repeated that although man dies, but it goes on forever. So let's move toward the next stanza children. I wind about and in and out with here a blossom sailing and here and there a lusty trot and here and there a grayling. Okay children. And the next stanza is and here and there a foamy flake upon me as I travel with many a silvery watery break about the golden gravel. So what did you understand from this two stanza children? The trot is vigorous as you come to know from this stanza, that is here the brook coils twist on its way to river and occasionally the flower can be seen on its surface. The floating blossom appears. Okay children. uh, that floating flower blossom appears on the sailing on the brook. The brook is also home of freshwater fish such as torrent and grayling. So what did the poet say here? The fish which is found only in fresh water. Okay, this brook is the even home for fresh water of fish such as torrent and grayling. And this torrent is vigorous and energetic fish. Hence, Tennyson call it as lusty. And due to the turbulent flow, flake of foam are produced. What is produced? The flake of foam is produced, which float on the surface of brook. Okay, children. The water which breaks, that means the water breaks which breaks on the brook surface forms the unevenness of its bed. Okay, these water breaks reflect the sun that makes them appear like silver. How it appears? Like silver. Gravel is usually in what color, children? Gravel means it is in usually in brownish yellow hue. Okay, hence the phrase used in this poemic sentence or in this stanza is golden gravel. Okay, so let's move toward the next stanza, children. And drawn them all along and flow to join the brimming river. The men may come, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. So what did you understand from this stanza, children, here? As it is linked to the or connected toward the last stanza also. The water which breaks and flows continuously on the brook surface. Okay, the unevenness of its bed, which reflect on the in the form of sun rays. It makes them to appear like silver. What it is? Gravel is usually in the brownish yellowish color, as you have learned in previous stanza. What the phrase was given? Golden gravel. The brook draws along with its several floating objects as if it is flowing or it flows toward the river. Okay, children. So whatever the things or the object which get underwater in water, it will continuously flow toward the river. Okay, with brimming river. And for men may come and men may go, but I go off forever. Means this stream or the brook, it never stop. It continuously flows. Okay, children. Now see here the next stanza. That is, I steal by lawn and grassy plots. I slide by hazel cover. I move the sweet forget-me-nots that grow for happy lovers. So what did you understand from this stanza, children? The brook that flows by grassy stretches and it passes by the land covered with hazel. What is the meaning of this hazel, children, here? Hazel, it is a type of shrub. Okay, what it is? Hazel means it is a shrub, one kind of shrub. Forget-me-nots. So what is this, children, here? Forget-me-nots are a low growing plants with bright blue flowers. What it is? It is one kind of flower. Forget-me-nots. Okay, which grows with blue colored flower. They often grow on the bank of streams. Sometimes even it is touching the water surface. What it does? It even touches the water surface. Forget-me-nots flowers are often seen, or it is a sign of faithfulness. It is compared almost all in poetic form. It is been compared for the lovers. Okay, note flower are often a sign of faithfulness and enduring love. Hence, they are associated with lovers. Okay, as the brook flows, it gently moves the flowers that touch the water. Okay, children, what does it mean? The happiness, the joy, the energy, the trust, what it is have, what a couple or lovers have, that thing is compared to this flower. Okay, for happy lovers, it is compared. Let's move to the next stanza. I slip, I slide, I gloom, I glance. Among my skimming swallow, I make the knitted sunbeam dance against my sandy shallow. Okay, so children, what did you understand from this stanza? The brook used the word slip, slide, gloom, glance to describe its movement. What it has described, as according to the poet, he had used here to enhance the beauty of the brook. He used few words which makes this poem very beautiful. Okay, so what kind of word it is used? The brook used the words slip, slide, gloom, glance to describe its movement. Swallow often hunts for insects on the surface. So what does it is? So it swallows some few kinds of insects have been found on the surface. No, it swallows. Okay, it hunts for that. They skim the water surface to capture the insects. Okay, the brooks glides among these skimming swallows. The brook is continuously moving and it also carries with its numerous fishes. What does it do? It carries most of the things with it. Objects, fishes, everything. Okay. The floating blooms. So what does it carries? It also carries with it numerous fishes, floating blooms, etc. We can say many things. Swallow often fly over it. Hence the sunlight that fall on the bed of the brook appears like a net instead of a continuous entity. Okay. That means as a sandy shallow surface to the shallow part of the brook that contains lots of deposited sand. It slit means it flows. Even it also the sand also will flow with the brook. Okay. So let us move toward the next stanza. I murmur under the moon and star. I brim I bramble wilderness. I linger by my shingly bars. I loiter round my creases. So what did you understand, children, from this stanza? According to the poet, in this stanza, the brook made an accumulated mass. Its flow, which is referred to as shingling bars. Shingle means here usually found in the slowest moving part of a brook. Okay. What shingling bar means? Shinglings are usually found in the slowest moving part of a brook. Okay. Hence the brook says that it lingers by such places. Grace in this case refers to water grasses that often grows on the edges of the brook. Okay children, what does it grows? On the edges of brook. As the brook passes these tufts to water creases, its water seems to coolness among the plants. Okay. Hence the poet used the words loiter to describe the plant. So what did the poet did? Or what did the poet do here to describe the plant here? He used the word loiter. Okay children, let's move toward the last stanza of this poem. And out again I curve and flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. So what did you understand children? The brook leaves the wilderness, that shingling bars and the water craze behind and flow in a graceful curves toward the river. And the poem end with the refrain that although the human life is transient and the flow of brook is pre preutile. Okay, children. I hope till now you have understood the poem properly with its explanation, all 13 stanzas. Now, let me tell you the poetic device which are used. In previous stanza, you have studied the poetic device, that is personification. What is that? The comparison which is done between the lively thing and non-living thing. Okay, and the non-living thing which is been shown as it is holding life, it is life. Okay children, so that you have learned in previous class. And the line which has continuation means in the third stanza you have learned, that is till large by Philip's form flow to join the brimming river. This line is in the form of which poetic device is used here? Enjambment. You have learned in previous class. Now today, as we have started our class from 4th stanza to 14th stanza, in these stanzas you have learned still a few more poetic device. Which are those? First one is the figure of speech, that is alliteration. So children, what does alliteration means here? Alliteration, it is the repetition of the particular sound in the first syllable of a series of the words or phrase. Okay children, what it is? Alliteration means the repetition of word in the form of syllables or phrase. Okay, for example, what is that? The poem what we are reading, the Brook, in that from that poem only I have taken few lines. Fields and fallows. First example is. Second, I slip, I slide. So the continuation of the sound of the word flee, flee here, and ss, that means sir. This kind of word pronunciation which are repeated continuously, these are called alliteration. And you have got one more line, that is in the fourth stanza with well, with and mellow. So the pronunciation of word W is been used here, that in the form of V. Okay. So the sound which sounds similarly continuously, which is repeated, is called alliteration. What children? And the other poetic device is, that is refrain. So what does this refrain mean in this poem children? Particularly it is also a poetic device. So refrain is a line or lines that are repeated in the poem. It usually comes at the end of this stanza. Okay children. So the line which are repeated continuously in the poem, in each and every stanza, or in some stanza it is repeated continuously, maybe the single line or continuously the lines. So these are called as refrain. So you have come through the line, that is, for men may come and men may go. Okay, this line is called as refrain. Got it children? I hope you all understood the poem and poetic device. Okay, here we end our class. Thank you.